Well, when we started MusXchange, we knew that it was useful. We knew that some musicians would be interested in going abroad, but we didn't expect such an enthusiasm. And 4 years after this start, it's now something that is really well organized, that is working very smoothly. MusXchange is based on the trust. We don't audition the musicians that come in our country. We trust the orchestra, and I would say that in 99% of the cases it works perfectly.
MusXchange is important because it gives the opportunity to European musicians to get to know each other better, to exchange musical culture, to have really a mobile labor market, and it facilitates this a lot.
Yeah, of course, it's the most important thing, I think, because in Spain it's really hard to get a job, or, you know, I think musicians must travel a lot and know as much as possible people, and this can open a lot of doors, you know, for the future. It's really important.
It's strange that we have now the best generation of young musicians, and there's no really little work for them. So we are trying to tell them to go abroad, or to Latin America, or to Europe. At the moment, it's really hard.
The culture program 2007 to 2013 was characterized by certain priorities defined by the European Commission, and one of them was mobility of artists. So what you need in order to be mobile and open up the labor opportunities for a musician is to have experience about the country or the region you work in, and to get acquainted with different habits of playing, of style, of repertoire, and to increase your own personal network as a musician, which is always and has always been vital for artists, of course. So the European Commission appreciates what we do as a federation, and that's the additional value added to our exchange of experience, which means giving the young musicians more experience and more opportunities for their future careers.
Du wirst ihre Augen gewinnen, ihre Augen gewinnen. Euch gehört dieser Tag.
As a musician, having the nomad spirit is a very important thing, because there are some facts that you cannot see and feel if you're not in that place. So for example, Mozart is here, or I don't know, all the other composers, you get to know them really well if you're in their country, if you get their culture, the architecture, the everything. The Western Europe has a different approach upon the technique, the musical phrasing and the articulation and all the stuff that we have to take into account when we are going, for example, to a Probespiel. So it's been a great opportunity to hear and see and get the right explanation on how to do a phrase and how to think about the melody and how to use the bow, or how to shift or not shift, how to use vibrato, or all this kind of stuff that usually are very different from one country to another and from one teacher to another. So it's a very personal view upon things like this.
It's for me just very funny to see the difference in culture, and that culture lives here more somehow. Because in Amsterdam, for example, we don't have Brucknerplatz, Hermann von Karajanstrasse, Malerstrasse, and we don't have these things. So when I arrived last Sunday, I didn't know what I was believing. You know, it was everywhere. There's music everywhere, actually. And they have opera, they have volkstheater, they have muziekverein. Again, like I said, in Amsterdam we know about it and we can learn about it, but we're not part of it.
Vom offenen Fenster ein Niesen, als der Scirocco mit neuer Kraft in die Baumkronen fährt. Noch einmal das Niesen fällt, mit einem Mal die Nacht.
For musicians, I think the action are very important because, I don't know, I see that in France there is not so much orchestra actually, and I think maybe for strings it's different, but as a bow player, for me it was very important to have a lot of contact. I'm young, so to have how do we say, the most contact as possible.
It was very interesting for me to play in Cyprus because the orchestra is even more international than here in Austria, although we also have this MusXchange program, but in Cyprus there are different programs where musicians come from all Europe. Many things were very different in Cyprus. For example, the fact that they have an audition there for concertmaster and leaders of second violins or the other instruments, and they don't want to decide it before. But then in the first round, unfortunately, they were not content with all the candidates, and so they were not satisfied, and this is why they persuaded me to participate in the second round, and then I finally got concertmaster, although I didn't really want to be that first.
I'm the first oboe of Jonde, the national Spanish orchestra, and I played with the Vienna's orchestra last year with a program of exchange. 2 years ago I met another girl, Maïwen Nicolas, a student from Stefan Chile, and past year another student from Stefan, Maria Demetz. And when I listened to these students, I thought, good oboist, I want to study with her teacher. And maybe thank you for this project, because now I can say that I have ideas and I know the way that I want to take.
I think MusXchange is very important for the musicians, because the students have the opportunity to see, to learn other ways to stay in orchestra, to work in orchestra. And then I think this is all very, very important experience to be a good musician. They must go to another orchestra to work with other instrumentists and come back and be different, be much more musician.
Now, for example, I did my bachelor in Trinity in London. Now I'm living in Düsseldorf, Germany, so my future now is going to Europe and not from Spain at the moment. I was interested last year when I came, just to know how French people works, because I didn't know, I knew the language but not musical vocabulary. Here is Karol Miska from Poland, and he's doing the first violin in Lyon Orchestra. So for example, you can know other idea how to work in a rehearsal. And also the conductor is different because he is coming from United States. So that is the diversity, I think, is really important for your development as a musician.
I think the exchanges, the experience exchanges we had since almost 20 years has been very, very important for all of us. And a new step has been made in organizing now managers exchange. And for example, we have in this summer period for the Orchestra Français des Jeunes the visit of two members of the administration of the National Youth Orchestra of South Africa. They come to see how we work, what are our methods, what are our practices. They can compare what they do to what we do. They can learn about new activities like mediation or conferences we have around classical interpretation or many things. And that's, I think, very, very useful for everybody.
The South African National Youth Orchestra feels sometimes like it's on the bottom of Africa, away from everywhere. And being part of the European Federation of National Youth Orchestras means a lot to us. We are a cooperating member, but it means that we have contact with other orchestras, and I think that's really important to learn and to share. I think that the future of MusXchange could include the whole world. I mean, it's such an amazing thing that we can travel and that we can experience. And one thing that I really found valuable was that when musicians from all over the world come to us, we think that we're going to learn from them, and they end up learning from us too. So it really is an exchange that's deep and meaningful, and I think relatively easy to do. It's easy to do with a big impact.
The cooperation with EFNYO and the National Youth Orchestra of Iraq helps us to end our isolation and bring our players closer to the network of national youth orchestras, and it connects us with solutions for instruments, teachers, hearing about new festivals, and most importantly of all, just feeling part of a larger family.
Well, the programs of the EU by nature have always been limited to European countries within the European Union. But what we actually have asked also in our recommendations to the EU after the first launch of the program was, please do think about an extension so that we can have third countries in the program, so that Europe can link up with the States, can link up with Canada, can link up with South America and Australia. It would be actually a great benefit for our young musicians to see what their professional level is as compared to other countries beyond Europe. And we have tried this already, but not with funding from the EU. So if we succeed in having this extension of the program from 2014 onwards, I think this would be an additional benefit, and we could also, via exchange, have musicians from South America and the United States in our orchestras.
It's important simply to exchange ideas and generate as much creative discussion as possible, because in the 21st century we're facing radical and unpredictable change, as is Iraq. It's happening everywhere. So a regular exchange of creative concepts, just on a simple level like that, is important to keep the whole youth orchestra sector fresh. And because national youth orchestras are at the top of their pyramid of importance and prestige, what they do is influential for the rest of the countries.
Actually, maybe it's not so good to say, but I would like not to come back to France. I don't know, I'm like, I need to see more, but not to come back, yeah.
At the beginning is difficult because it's a different situation. It's not your home, your family is far away, and you have to begin a new life with new friends. Then it's not easy. But if I return to the past, I will do this again. I'm so happy.
The benefits of being in a youth orchestra are to feel how important it is to work in a team, and that's something which the European Union, I think, should always have in mind as a major benefit for young people. You have to show them something they really want to do. In the end, you arrive at having better European citizens without aiming at this. If it should start somewhere, it should start with young people.